What's going on, champs and champettes? It's FireMonkey here, and in today's YouTube video we have to talk about Fortnite Reload potentially getting some cool updates in the near future. A recent Fortnite survey was actually discovered and published online recently that actually mentioned a few things that weren't related to Fortnite Reload, a lot of sports related things which could be related to game modes in 2025. We'll go ahead and talk about that in another video, but there were some questions specifically about Reload itself. And the reason why I want to actually put a spotlight on these is because they're not the typical, oh, should Reload have bots? Should Reload be a game where you are able to reload your gun? Simple things like that, right? Instead, it was actually fully fleshed out with actual questions of ideas Epic Games might be planning for the future of Reload. And when we talk about other game modes that were actually mentioned in the survey, such as Rocket Racing or any of the LEGO modes, they didn't really ask you these type of questions that we're going to talk about today. They were just like, oh, have you played it? You have? Okay, goodbye. And, you know, it's kind of sad to see something like that happen, especially with Rocket Racing, which has kind of just been thrown into the mud or whatever recently. But it is interesting to kind of point out. So what were these questions that were recently asked? Well, the first question we'll go ahead and talk about isn't actually the one that we're going to be focusing mainly on in today's video, but when talking about Fortnite's Ballistic Mode, aka the first person mode, they do ask if first person should be an option for Reload in the future. Imagine being able to select not only if you're going to be playing with building enabled or building disabled in Reload, but also being able to select if you want to play it in first person mode, such as, you know, for example like this where you're not able to see your character at all, or if you want to play it in third person mode. But that is one of the questions they actually asked that was kind of like a throwaway side question when talking about a completely different game mode, but it is still interesting to mention overall. However, the main focus I want to talk about in today's video is the survey question you're seeing up at the bottom of the screen right now, which asks about different types of themes and maps that could be designed for Reload in the future. This is stuff such as Chapter 2 Season 2, which was the Midas themed season, potentially getting its own map in Fortnite Reload, stuff such as different maps with different loot pools themed around Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Chapter 5, and even Chapter 6, stuff that is very specific, such as a map themed around desserts, such as like ice cream and stuff like that, which would be interesting to see in Fortnite, but at the same time, I feel they might be able to actually pull it off very, very well, and it would be a goofy little map to see in Reload. Stuff like a map themed around jungles, which I know is already giving people a lot of trauma of like Fortnite Wilds and stuff like that, but it is an idea that they could actually implement in there. You know, we could have the whole entire like jungle grind vines or whatever in that map, stuff themed around urban locations as well, so they have a few different map ideas that they're planning for Reload in the future. They already, of course, have the two maps being the one desert map, not the dessert one, you know, which was, I think, called Oasis, and then we also have the Venture map as well, which is like the original map for that mode, so it is interesting to kind of see them working on all this stuff behind the scenes and brainstorming potential map updates for the mode itself. There were also some extra questions asking specifically more focused on that loot pool aspect of people wondering if, oh, when you play Reload, you're actually expecting to have more of a loot pool that matches the specific map you're playing on, meaning that with the rotations of maps, such as, you know, if we got a desert themed map or if we ended up getting like an urban themed map, the loot pool would actually change during that map rotation to specifically mimic whatever is going on that specific map. So that is something that we could be looking forward to in the future as well, but I do think it's interesting to see that they do have plans for Reload going forwards, and they want to have more and more of a map rotation going on in that mode, so you can go ahead and play it in any way you want, right? You know, if you want to play a specific version of it, personally for me, I think I would go for more of like the goofy themed map ideas they could do instead of just, here's an old chapter redefined on the Reload map. I think they could definitely pull that off really well, and I think it would be very interesting to see just how it kind of freshens up Reload, because, you know, in one hand, Reload on its own doesn't really need too many changes in terms of like how it plays. You know, it's pretty solid in that sense, but I do think having more variety for the maps that actually are in the rotation could be a really, really cool thing for Reload. So if you wanted to play like a match of Reload or something on a specific map, you could wait for it to actually show up in the Reload map queue. You know, if it's not the current map, go ahead and play something else like a match of Ballistic, some LEGO Fortnite, something along those lines, and checking back every so often. But I definitely think it could be a very cool idea, and maybe they could even tie it into specific themes, right? So for example, future map ideas they could end up doing is stuff like, oh, is it Halloween time? Well, we have a Fortnitemares themed map. Oh, is it something that is going to be Christmas themed? You know, a Winterfest themed map. Stuff like that are potential options for things they could actually have added to Fortnite Reload in the near future, but it is interesting to see that they're mentioning this in a survey that isn't really focused on Reload at all. But I thought I'd go ahead and share it with you guys, because I do know there's a decent amount of people out there who actually do play Reload and would like to hear some news about it. So if you enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing and support the content I create, and I'll catch you guys the next time with another upload. Like the video if you liked it, dislike it if you didn't like it, and until then, peace out.